If you want to convince me you have no idea what you're talking about and that you're completely inept, best way to do it is to send me a Facebook link. Please subscribe. I definitely want to reiterate before this one is there is zero belief in my direction with this topic. I'm just curious about something is why is it when 5G came out, everyone lost their minds? Because like you said before, 4G was fine. 3G was fine. What confuses me is like,
so is
not new.
Is it that they're not claiming that 5G is a weapon, just that the number 5 is a weapon?
No.
You could have somebody's eye out with it.
Yeah. No, but I don't understand because, again, if you just kind of go down a rabbit hole of new technologies affecting you like that, there's a pattern of this. The Y2K stuff. Everyone thought at midnight on the year 2000, shit was going to hit the fan. Nothing happened. When we all started first walking around with mobile phones in our pockets, oh, you got to be careful because you can get testicular cancer, ovarian cancer from having your phone in your front pocket. This 5G danger isn't, it's old myths and misconceptions wrapped up in a new package.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It basically comes down to the fact that none of the people who are 5G conspiracy theorists actually know anything about 5G. Because basically they see the word radiation, and without understanding the difference between non-ionizing and ionizing radiation, they've just gone, radiation, 5G bad.
So is that one of... So is that the same as, I guess, the mobile phones in the pockets years ago?
5G, Wi-Fi, radio waves, and ionizing X-rays, gamma rays, which can damage DNA. They would be not... Right, let me start that again. I've explained that absolute shite. 5G, Wi-Fi, phone signal, that kind of thing, that's non-ionizing. Ionizing is X-rays and that gamma rays and all that sort of malarkey. But non-ionizing in the size, like the dose, if you like, for want of a better word, that comes out of your phone is negligible. It's not enough to harm anything.
In a roundabout way, is 5G gives you cancer the same as bacon gives you cancer? Because there is something within it that in a different form.
I'm not sure. Like, for example, the aspartame in Pepsi Max.
Okay, yeah, that's probably a good example.
And I did the calculation once, and I would have to, because I historically have drunk gallons of Pepsi Max.
Yeah,
like
enough for a
literally
lifetime.
enough for 3 lifetimes. But you'd have to drink something like, you know, a 330, like a normal can of Pepsi Max. You'd have to drink like, it was something stupid, like 3,000 of those a day for a year to have ingested enough aspartame for it to give you cancer.
Yeah, so
it was something along those lines.
Okay, so it's
take it as read just because I've said it, but it was a ridiculous number of cans per day, and it was a long time of doing it. It wasn't just, you know, oh, I'm not thirsty anymore, but damn, now do you know what I mean? It's not that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But another thing that doesn't help with 5G as well is 5G is has involved the biggest upgrade to the networks themselves, not just the equipment. So not just, you know, like my phone here now it's got 5G, except for where I live, which is really useful, but nearly everywhere else has got 5G. They had to upgrade the equipment, which is why we haven't got any 5G masts around here. That's why we haven't got 5G.
Oh, right.
And I think the fact that these masks, and they are big, bloody, ugly, intrusive looking things. There's one up on Forest Far Cross, you know, something seeming a bit off or seeming strange. Because with 5G, it's all new, and new seems to equal bad these days.
Well, that was kind of one of the points I wrote down was, unless the technology that is, you know, the new rage right now, unless it is so significant that it's going to drastically change day-to-day life, that I feel like we're deep enough into this technological era. These little changes, we've seen enough of them happen gradually with no issues.
Yeah.
You know, we're nearly 3 decades later now. We've seen phones go from flip phones to smartphones.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we've seen computers drastically change. You know, we've spoken about this before.
Yeah.
Dial-up I'm going on the internet. No one can use the phone.
Yeah,
We've seen such
yeah,
change
exactly.
in my lifetime.
Exactly. It's
I,
all completely different now.
yeah, and
You know, and
I
imagine like in
understand the
my
hesitancy.
lifetime when I was little, we didn't even have color TV.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
we had a black and white TV
yeah.
until I don't know, probably until I was I think it was in the mid 70s.
Mm,
My parents first had a color TV, but used to rent them then from radio rentals. Normal people like us couldn't afford to buy a TV.
yeah.
You know, now, Jesus, some TVs, they're so cheap now. It makes you question whether they're making any money.
Well, do you remember the first flat screen TV we had?
Yeah,
It was
I remember how much you
super.
paid
Yeah,
for it as
I
well.
remember how much you paid for it because I
Yeah,
feel like every time we bring it up over the years, you say how much it costs.
I know. And it was a ginormous 42-inch screen.
Yeah.
I got a 42-inch screen on my bedroom wall now.
That's what I'm saying. And it was like this thick. It was barely flat screen. That's kind of what I mean though, is we've seen those like in our lifetimes
Yeah.
with little to no issues. Why is it
Yeah.
every time something new comes out, everyone freaks out again?
It's the fear, ooh, new is bad, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then you got one of the biggest culprits is Facebook.
Oh, don't. Facebook and Meta, I feel like has been the downfall of the middle-aged brain.
Yeah.
It is bonkers.
Yeah.
The stuff, and people will link you to reference articles, and it's a bloody Facebook link.
Yeah.
If you want to convince me you have no idea what you're talking about and that you're completely inept, the best way to do it is to send me a Facebook link.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's idiotic.
I got very passionate there. My bad, guys.
Yeah, no, it is. So it's completely nuts. And Facebook is creating people like Alex Jones.
I love any opportunity I get to publicly shit on Mark Zuckerberg is such a good day. Mark Zuckerberg has stood in front of some of the biggest courts or Congress and all that and defended his right, or Facebook's right, to keep misinformation on their platform under the ruse of free speech. Yeah. They were called out for so much misinformation, especially over COVID times, that he was summoned, and essentially they defended their right to keep bullshit on Facebook and Instagram.
Anthony Walter says, what is Facebook? I find that very difficult to believe.
If you're lucky enough to not know what it is, never use it because it will turn you into an idiot.
Yeah, it's I just don't. The only thing I use Facebook for now is to let people know when I've published a video.
Yeah, I haven't had Facebook for years, but even before I deleted my Facebook, it's just a way to check in and see which ones of your friends from school are racist now. That is essentially all Facebook is.
Yeah, I know. That was a joke. I was on Facebook determined it was a waste of time.